is truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative is the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. Status quo. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Mic's not on. Hey there, Jordan Sheridan and
Jen Dies.
let me know if you could hear us, if you could see us. I am always in an adventure with OBS and Skype. Let me know if you're hearing us, if you're seeing us. I think I did the audio right, but you never know. 222, join the media revolution. 1 sec, there's a bit of a delay, so I just want to make sure everybody could hear us. 222. Audio, both good. Perfect. So, yeah, this is going to be one hell of a broadcast. Maybe the biggest, bestest in the history of suppressed media. We got 130 people watching, only 77 likes. Please press that like button. More people that press the like button, the more people that will see this live stream. It's usually not a good headline if you want people to watch, to tell them you're about to show them something extremely depressing. But we always keep it real, so that's why I said the headline, which honestly, Jen, you know me. You're always asking, why do you never cry? How do you stay afloat during these interviews? This interview, I teared up a little bit. So if I teared up a little bit, you're going to see. But before we start, Jen, you was out for a little while. A lot of viewers sent you wonderful messages. I hope you read them. If you want to share anything, you can. You don't have to. Whatever you want.
Yeah. So I want to thank everyone first of all. I told Jordan, I guess it was last Thursday, to go ahead and tell the audience where I was, what was going on. If you missed that, the very short of it is, I've been dealing with some things from childhood and some depression. So I thought it was important to get a break, get medications adjusted, and have some therapy, and then kind of get back on the right path, because there's so much going on in the world. I know so many of you deal with your own mental health things. So I want to kind of help in any little way that I can to remove the stigma about talking about mental illness and mental health issues. So I'm right there with you for anyone who is struggling, and I'm so lucky to have such great family and friends. Jordan was incredible. He called me every day to see how I was doing. And I am so thankful to him, so thankful to other family and friends. And yeah, I feel like I've kind of gotten back on the path toward healing and towards kind of getting out of the hole that I was sinking into. So thank you so much. It was so meaningful to come back and have Jordan say, hey, check our email inbox, because you have a lot of really nice emails in there from people who care, and it meant a lot. The status quo viewers, I always say it, you guys are the best in the world, and you've proven it again. Your hearts are so big, and yeah, thank you all. But I am back, and I'm continuing on my mental health journey, and but I'm back in the coup, as Jordan said earlier. So I'm so glad to be back. I wanted to come on live today because I've been really itching to get back to work. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, and I think that it's important also that, whatever the case is, whether it be Jen or other people, and I've dealt with my own mental health issues. I think a lot of times with mental health, it's very difficult to, you're not always thinking logically. So a lot of times you might not realize how many people appreciate you and how many people value you and how loved you are. So that's why people sending in messages, and I'm looking at the chat right now, and just, we love you, Jen. We love you, Jen. We love you, Jen. So hopefully, you're very valued, not just like as a journalist, but just as a person. So glad to have you back.
It really means a lot.
Yes. Fuck you for making me do all that work. No, I'm just kidding. Just joking. And you're getting double. Well, you're getting double if you're a Status Coup member, that is. And unfortunately, hold on, Colin sent me this, and I didn't correct it. Hold on. I got to correct that number because the downslide is continuing. Unfortunately. 1 second. Okay, 17. So, right now, we're at 1,718 members. So, straight up, we've lost over 200 members since this all broke out. Guess it could be worse. We're still in business. So, maybe that's something Jen and I will talk more about tonight with our members on our members call. 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. Jen is going to be sending out the link for that members call. Oh, you did already. Okay. So if for whatever reason you're a member and you don't get the link, feel free to email us at info@statuscoup.com, and we will, we'll troubleshoot it. So patrons, same thing. Patrons are on the call too. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. So be there. There'll be plenty of discussion. Maybe laughter, maybe crying, maybe screaming. I'm going to definitely scream a little bit because I'm fucking fed up. Oop, excuse my French. And we just posted a members video giving a little behind the scenes of the interview I just did, which we're about to air. So thank you, Jillian, getting us started in the Super Chat, $9.99.
Thank you, Jillian.
So there's a lot to talk about, Jen, but I want to start. I usually don't start with an interview, but I think this thing just blew my mind. So, obviously we were about 4 days away from 24th, 25th, 26th, 3 days away from unemployment expiring for millions of people. Jobless claims just hit 1.4 million for the last week, which is an increase. Cases are out of control all over the country of coronavirus, so we're definitely going to get into that. But I think this interview really crystallizes why Status Coup exists, because frankly, I just don't think you'd ever see this interview anywhere else, to be honest. And it's not because I'm so special and we're just so wonderful in finding these stories. It's just because we ask. I just put out earlier today, if you're facing unemployment, lack of health care, eviction, whatever, and I got a couple people message me, and I got a couple people messaging me, and this one person stood out, so I interviewed them. And what was interesting about him is it's not an unemployment story. He's not. This person didn't get unemployment because of coronavirus. He can't get unemployment because of coronavirus because his full-time job is actually attending to his terminally ill wife. So I'm just giving you a trigger notice. This interview is not for the light of heart. You might cry, and this is not going to be joyous, but I think it's important to show you the people even falling in between the cracks even more than just the people facing unemployment, eviction, and all that. So this is an interview I just did with Anthony, and Jen and I will react on the way back. Here we go. Oh, it is a super chat. Please keep those super chats coming, even if you're crying. We accept crying chats, and we got 215 people watching. 144 of you have pressed that like button. We need another 75 or so. Please press the like button, even if you're crying. Here's my interview with Anthony Martino. Oops. That's not it. Hold on. Gotta love doing this live. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined by Anthony. And you reached out to me. It's kind of an interesting story because a lot of people are only focused on the people that are about to lose unemployment through COVID and the Democrats and Republicans' treachery. But there's kind of other stories that people might not realize. So you and your wife really had, kind of crisis a couple years ago come. You've been dealing with it since then. And because of that crisis, you've been really relying on the help of family. But because of COVID, that help is no longer possible. Can you kind of start from the beginning? What happened with your wife and what have you been dealing with lately?
Well, we moved to the city in 2014. She became she taught Latin and ancient Greek. She got a degree in classics, stuff like that. In 2014, while she was teaching, there was a fight. She got hit in the head, went to the hospital, all that stuff. And then we found out she had the disease. It runs in the family. It was a 50-50 shot.
What was that disease?
It's ataxia. Spinal spelodora ataxia. Mm-hmm. It's a degenerative genetic disease. It's like slowly takes you. But anyway, she got that. She slowly started deteriorating. Within a year, she couldn't walk, and then within 2 years, within a year, she was fully handicapped, and then within 2 years, she was completely incapacitated and couldn't talk or anything. Hold on 1 second, I gotta get her. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem.
Hold on, baby. Got a protein shake. So when that happened, I ended up. I did a lot of jobs. I got my A+ certification to fix computers in '99 a year before I graduated high school. I worked in Manhattan doing networking and stuff like that.
And how old was your wife when all this happened?
This happened 5 years ago. 6 years ago. So I was, I'm 38 now, so I was 32. She was like 29.
Wow.
28, 29. So when that happened, thank God my parents were there because they helped us out and stuff. But we had a really hard time with her family. I can go into it. Her history is insane. From her whole family situation. Her sister was shaken by the babysitter, and her when she was just a baby, and her sister died when she was 21. She lost her uncle and her father in high school to the disease. Mm-hmm. So she's had a lot of loss, and the family suffered a lot, and it caused a lot of mental problems for everybody. So that all happened. So yeah, my family's been helping out with us. My parents were helping me with a little bit that they had from their income, but when COVID happened, that income stopped. So now we couldn't. I haven't been able to cover rent for the last 2 months. We're going to get evicted on the 31st. So and because of that, now I have to pack up and clean and do all these things, and it's very difficult because my parents can't really help me right now because they're selling the house and showing the house, so that they can go take that money and move down to the Carolinas so that they can retire and all that stuff. So with taking care of her, it's been it's a full-time thing. Uh, from uh, from so I do all the cooking, I do all the cleaning. She needs 24/7 support. I have to sit by her all the time. There's a lot of days I only get like 2 or 3 hours of sleep at a time because she'll wake up and cry, and I gotta reset her head or reset her feet or leg. I have to help her go to the bathroom. I mean, it's a lot. So, you know, I mean, emotionally, it's like a good. Every year is like another gut punch from some direction. You never know where, and like that's felt. But I understand it's like that for a lot of people, especially around here. Um, yeah, yeah. So now I'm trying to figure out where we're gonna stay. If I can get to stay with family, it's gonna be hard with the situation because I have to put pads underneath her because she wets herself and she goes to the bathroom and stuff, and I have to clean her up. So you got to set it up a certain way. Um, it's hard to travel with her because you can only travel for like a little bit before she starts crying. It's just really tough on her.
Just so my audience understands, this illness she has, is it a neurological thing? What kind of illness is it?
It's a genetic disease. It's basically there's a loop in the DNA, and what happens is something keeps looping in the genetics, where everything in the body starts deteriorating, from the brain to the muscles to the organs. There's all different types of ataxia. She has a certain one. I know that when they found out the father had it, the mother could have got her tested, but decided not to because she couldn't handle it. So, I mean, my recommendation is if you're dealing with this, especially with a kid, I'm sorry. Baby, hold on, I'll be right there. 1 second. I apologize.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, if you have a kid or runs in your family and you have a chance to get it tested as young as possible, so that they know if they have it or not, so that way their time on the planet they can use in their way and not waste it on something frivolous. Unfortunately, we didn't know until it happened.
And just so I understand, you've basically had to stop working because this is a full-time job, basically being the caretaker for your wife. So you were getting help from your parents, but because of COVID, your parents have economically hurt.
Yeah.
So they can't help you anymore.
Yeah. So I'm 3 months back in rent. I've barely been able to cover the phone bill. So, we eat what we can, a lot of bread and chicken and rice, mostly. But yeah, they couldn't, they just told me they don't have any money anymore. So they have to wait to sell the house to even, they have $30 in the bank right now. And, they're in their, 70s and like mid 70s, early 70s, my parents. So,
And did they lose their job during COVID, or what happened that they can't help you anymore?
My dad used to run a pizzeria, and then what happened was during the recession and stuff, it was ended up becoming too expensive to run. So they basically ended up selling it. He didn't get what he put into it because it was costing more money than it was to run it. So then he ended up selling that. And then that money ran out, taking care of my mom and my sisters and stuff. And I guess me a little bit too. I try to fix computers or do stuff when I can, but I can't even go for you guys. I mean, COVID, we all have been locked in and stuff, and I understand it's been hard. It's been hard for the last couple of months. I've been basically quarantined for like almost 4 or 5 years because I can't really go that far. Yeah, that's why. So I got to be here constantly. my radius is basically an avenue one way and an avenue other way. So that's why I like here, is because I can walk down the block, grab something, come right back. With COVID, it makes it a little bit harder because running to the grocery store, there's a line now. So it takes 45 minutes to get into the grocery store. But, I can't leave her for 45 minutes.
And what other than the help you were getting from your parents, do you get disability, Medicaid? What are you surviving on?
Getting Social Security, and then we also had a rental house that was her father's from when he passed away. And the only reason that Sarah was able to get that is because her family had to fight her to make sure her mom didn't take it. One second. So yeah, we had that rental money coming in, but that rental money stopped. That was like $750 a month to help with everything, and then my parents would help with a little bit of the top. So, that stopped a couple months ago because they haven't been able to pay for the rental house. So, and it's a small house in Florida, but under Alabama, that part. 1 second, baby, I'm right here. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I'm trying to find some way to get something to the landlord so I could stay a couple extra months, so that way I have time to get out of here. Well, it's too tough.
And where would you go?
I wanted to go back to my parents. I mean, they have a little bit of room, but I don't know the place that they're getting in the Carolinas is going to be big enough. But I was going to go back there. It's just going to be hard on everybody because it's a lot. And that taking care of her is I love her so much, and it kills me every time. But like, I want to be there every time she cries. I want to make sure she's always okay. I always make sure that she knows that I'm there. She can't see that well. So, she couldn't see before the whole thing. She had bad eyes and stuff. But now with this, it's hard to wear glasses and stuff. So she, doesn't really know what's going on. When I communicate with her, we do it in blinks. I say blink for this or blink for that. Blink if you need me to move your head and all that stuff. So that's how I know she's still cognitive, knows what's going on. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure.
And you haven't been eligible for unemployment considering you haven't been working, but you have been working. It's just full-time caretaker.
And on top of that, the way they do it is like you can't be the significant other to get paid for being like a full-time care worker, because I looked into it, and the only way like her, you'd have to be like the sister or the mother or something like that. You can't be the husband or the wife, which is ridiculous for because every family situation is different.
So under state unemployment law, you can't get the unemployment even though you're.
I can't get. I haven't worked.
Right.
But
you can't work is the point, because you're a full-time caretaker for your wife.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't collect either way.
Wow. Unbelievable. And, how are you? I mean, I see you, just it's 24/7, never ending. How do you hold up mentally? Because now you have the stress of facing eviction. What is it, August 31st for you?
Yeah. I just try. Basically, sometimes if I could get her to sleep for like 3 or 4 hours, I'll have like a little bit of time to like throw stuff out, clean the cabinet out, put something in boxes and stuff like that. I've been doing that for the last couple months. I just set up a GoFundMe and put it out to a couple people. You can find me on Twitter at Migrant, MIGGRIN. If anybody can help me out, that would be great. If you can't, I understand. If you have a little extra, please give to Status Quo, because Jordan, I just gotta say, you do some amazing work, and it means a lot. I don't know if you get this. You probably get it all the time. It means a lot to a lot of people. You put faces on a lot of these faceless stories that the mainstream media will not cover, because if they did, they would have to put their friends and family in jail and hold them accountable. So, I mean, putting humanity to where humanity is a really good thing in this world. We need more of that, and we're just gonna have to rely on independent media to do that for us right now, anyway. But yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. I've suffered with depression. I don't have health insurance, so I can't get the medicine I need because I was on Adderall. That helped out a lot with being able to focus and stuff. But I don't try to think about it too much, because the main thing is if I start falling apart, then I can't be there for Sarah, and that will only hurt Sarah more. So, I can't let myself go, or else Sarah will go. So, like, there's no way.
Right.
There's no way I can fall apart. And I got, I've had problems with my family in the past. Everyone does. It's tough. I had a sister that, I had a sister that was kind of nasty and came after me and caused a lot of problems with family. And it took a while. I didn't talk to my mom and dad for like 5 years because they wouldn't do anything, and it got serious where we were getting threatened to get, someone was starting to kill us, and nobody was listening. So it's just been one thing after the other. I mean, I don't really want to move. I like it here because it really helps ground me, because everybody else is struggling. So you see it on everybody's faces every day. It just makes me feel like I'm not alone. That's why I like living out here.
What does it say to you, Anthony, that the choice right now for someone like you and your wife, who obviously can't take care of herself, is a madman who's growing more and more into a fascist every day, obviously is not going to give Medicare for all or any real relief to someone like you and your wife, or a country club Republican with a D next to his name who proudly says, even if Congress passed Medicare for all, I would veto it?
Yeah, it's all the same club. It's all the same club. It's donor only. It's we the donors, not the people, and we got to change that, or else this is over. It's going to be over. We're getting very close. Hearing about not even people not being able to pay their mortgages. They're not doing anything to help us. The only ones they're helping are their friends and family, which is the donors. So, we get a little cut, but they get the tax cuts. They get to get wealthy. They take care of Wall Street and stuff like that. And what drives me crazy is my father's a Republican. So I'm just like, I'm looking at my father. I'm like, you should be getting paid to be saying stuff like this, taking their side. Like, you're not a millionaire. You don't have millions in the bank. You're not trying to avoid taxes. You're as poor as I am. It really says something. And like, and the thing about it is like, I've been brought up, with, my dad came here from Sicily back in the 40s and stuff. He didn't get his first pair of shoes till he was 7. My grandma, my nana, she came here 3 or 4 years by herself to save up for her family so that they could come over here. I had 4 uncles, 1 aunt that she had to bring over and stuff. And she worked in the garment factory right here in Brooklyn and stuff. Luckily, within a couple of years, it was like 3 or 4 years, there was a family on Knickerbocker that ended up giving her money so that her and her husband and the kids come over on the boat. And they got here, and my nana was able to work in the garment district, save up enough money for 2 tenement buildings, one on Bleecker, one on Knickerbocker. Was able to help all my uncles and my aunt open up careers and stuff so that they could have a life over here. Except one uncle who ended up becoming a principal at one of the New York, either the middle school or a high school. I forgot. I was young when before he retired. So, yeah, they ended up doing that, and it's just amazing that she was able to just working a regular job, were able to save up for 2 tenement buildings, just to house a family and collect rent and also work. You can't do that today. Forget about it. You know, as soon as you pop out of college, you're already in a hole. You know, it's just how far deep are you going to be before you can actually start making money, start saving up for something. Forget about retirement. You know, it's over. You know, and like all we can give and all we can do is just, you know, a lot of us are struggling, and you know, we don't have money and stuff like that, but all we can do is just send our love and support and put causes to these problems. Imagine what we can do with universal basic income on top of that. What we could solve. You know what I mean? You can put all your heart now we can all throw into to help solve problems, to help stop, you know, to give people a peace of mind.
Right.
You know?
Well, I have to say, I don't know if you get this enough, but it's pretty remarkable. You know, I'm not married yet, but obviously marriage is work and has ups and downs, but your love is very, very visible, and it just takes a certain type of individual to be this compassionate and this attentive, and you've basically given up your life out of love for your wife, who unfortunately had this happen to her. So much admiration for you, and I will gladly tell my audience to contribute to that GoFundMe. It's unfortunate that that's what you have to do. You should be getting the help you need. Your wife should be getting the help you need. But we will drop the link in all over the place to try and give you a little relief. And thanks for sharing the story.
Ask for help. It's not my thing. You know.
Right.
I don't like asking for help. I like helping, but you know, I feel for everyone else. So you know, it's just tough.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Thank you, Jordan, and thank you for the work you do. I've been enjoying it since I caught you on CYT, and now you're doing this thing. I was really excited when you started this stuff. I mean, universal basic income. I mean, think how much better independent media would be, and how much we could get the coverage of what we need, and help as hard as we can. But you know, it's donor class only, and then everybody else, and it's horrible. This isn't right. This isn't how we're supposed to be. You know, but if you look at our generation and previous, it's completely different. You know, it just amazes me. Like, but we'll all get through this, hopefully.
Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it.
Yo, no problem. Thank you. And you know, I wish all you guys best. Stay safe out there. I worry about you guys every time. You know, thank you for, you know, you have to cover these things, but you know, people really need to realize how much danger you guys put yourself in. It's very commendable. You know, it's real hero work.
Thanks, Ben.
You know, and so thank you again.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com, where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you. So that was Anthony Martino. Yeah, I think that it's tough to kind of even respond to that. You know, I think that I purposely told Colin, who edits our stuff, not to edit out the parts where he had to get up and walk to his wife, who we didn't see, but it seems like she was laying on the couch, because my guess is that's his all day, every day. And you know, we look at what's going on with people facing this economic cliff and evictions and 52 million, I think, 52 million jobless claims now. But I think stories like that, he gets Social Security and some other benefits, but that's not enough to afford rent in most major cities. And there's no provisions in unemployment that I know of for caretakers. That's why in Bernie's Medicare for All, one of the provisions was long-term, expanded services for long-term care, which that is that. Is that really what Anthony needs? Not that he doesn't want to care for his wife, but what he needs is a full-time, 24/7 medical professionals at his home. And that's outrageously expensive. And no working class person can afford it. What do you think, Jen?
It's really striking. Well, several things are really striking about that interview. First, it's obviously it's heartbreaking, and it's so sad, and it touches all of us. The love that Anthony has for his wife, the struggles that he goes through every single day, seemingly without complaint. He wrote in the chat, I don't know if everybody saw, that her mother asked him, "What are you going to do when she can no longer walk?" And his answer was, "I'll pick her up and I'll carry her." And so this is his reality. This is his love for his wife, and what a great example of love it is. And this all comes in a country where people's basic needs aren't taken care of, or even cared about, or even thought of. The people up on Capitol Hill can't be bothered to care about stories like Anthony's. There are very few politicians who seem to care. One of those is Bernie Sanders. It's striking also, how different Anthony and his wife's, I believe her name's Sarah, how different their lives would be if we were in a country that saw healthcare as a human right, which it is. It is a necessity. It is not a privilege to have healthcare. It is a right. And so here we are in this careless country with a man who has such love, such character, and who is facing eviction and facing so many other things at the same time. We have COVID. His parents used to be able to help, and now they can't. Things are coming at this family all at one time. It really puts into perspective, what it means to struggle and what it means to work through those struggles. And I can't stop thinking about what an incredible person Anthony is. Just all the love to Anthony and Sarah and their whole family. We live in a heartless country. It's disgusting.
And something that stood out to me, and Anthony's in the chat, by the way, so you could talk with him, I guess, if you want. By the way, I think I recorded that with Anthony about an hour ago, and I donated. So far, we've raised $925 for him in the last hour, all from the coup. All from the community. So Anthony has set a $10,000 goal. I'm very careful about what I promote. I have had a whole lot of people reach out to me to push whatever their GoFundMes are or various things. I don't really do that much for a multitude of reasons. Number one, I don't need to add on top of all the other things I'm doing, vetting, GoFundMes to make sure they're not scams, because there are scams out there. And then it's like, if you promote one, then where do you draw the line on others? So, I pick and choose what I promote, but, I felt I had to donate to this, and I hope if you have anything, even if I think GoFundMe's minimum is $5, I hope you'll contribute, because something he said that really stood out to me is, I mean, my girlfriend and I have been talking about it, and so many people have been talking about it, like, God, we got to get the fuck out of this apartment. We're just stuck in this one bedroom all day for the last 4 months. He just said, I've been quarantined basically for 4 to 5 years. So what has been awful for so many of us, if you live in an apartment and you've been stuck there, if you live in a small house and you've been stuck there, whatever your situation is, a lot of us have basically been stuck. This guy's been, I don't want to say stuck because obviously he loves his wife, but he basically only has time to walk 1 block this way and 1 block that way because, he can't really be away from his wife for more than maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I mean, think about living that way and think about the fact that he has to live that way in this country. He's not somebody, from what I could tell, that doesn't want to work, right, but he can't work because he can't afford home health care. It's just tragic to deal with. He's young. I don't know. I think he's like 37, 38. His wife, mid-30s. So the life that he thought he was going to have with her obviously is no more. So you got to deal with the mental and the loss of that. Obviously, she's still here, but not in the way he thought or she thought. And now the stress of evictions and this, it's just outrageous. And, the sad part is, and we talk about it day to day, but Joe Biden's not going to change that.
No.
It might make the wine moms feel better, but the wine moms don't really know about stories like Anthony. They don't really care either, to tell you the truth. The resistance, they'll speak up when Trump sends federal troops into Portland and wherever else, but they certainly won't speak up when the police are the ones doing it under President Obama or under Democratic rule. So I say all this because I think that, it's just important within your means, because obviously, as Jen and I have been experiencing, everybody's hanging by a rope. What I mean by that is everybody is just paycheck to paycheck. We've lost 200 members because of coronavirus. That means there's a large number of people that can't even afford $5 a month to this. And I'm not criticizing them. Think about the only thing that was keeping him in his apartment was his parents' economic help. And because of COVID, so everybody is basically hanging by a thread economically, except for Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Donald Trump, all the donors, all the journalists on TV that make millions of dollars a year to serve propaganda, the Silicon Valley executives that run platforms like this, that throttle the fuck out of channels like this. That's another thing. What we complain on a daily basis, and we'll talk about it in the members call tonight. Reminder, members call tonight in an hour and a half. Jen and I and you, if you're a member, statuscoup.com/join. But what YouTube is doing, what Twitter is doing, what all of them are doing, it's not only that it screws status coup, right? It's not only that, we have 84,000 subscribers. We're live right now to 280 people. It's a joke. Not that we don't value the people watching, but the reason it's so low is because of the way YouTube has changed its algorithm to stuff ABC News, CNN, MSNBC, and other corporate channels in your feed and hide channels like this. But it's not only this type of suppression. It's not only Status Coup that suffers or other independent channels. It's Anthony that suffers. It's the people of Flint that suffer. It's the people of Standing Rock that suffer. It's the people in other communities not named Portland right now that are getting bashed, not even by federal troops, but just the local police. Because those stories are not seen because they're intentionally buried by this platform. So, yeah. we'll keep doing as many stories. Like this is one of the, I've had interviews like in person that really affect me, and a few had me on tears, but I've never really had one like virtually like this. I was shedding a couple tears. You probably didn't see it. And we'll just obviously when we post this again, we'll push it as hard as we can. Wow. Unbelievable. Somebody just donated a heck of a lot of dough. So an anonymous donor gave 100. An anonymous donor gave 30, 15, 5, Jen, 5, 25, 40, 6, 250, 20, 20, 10, 50. I mean, you guys, we've all donated over $1,500 in the last hour to Anthony. So I don't know if I can get you to 10,000, Anthony, but I hope this has helped ever so slightly. I don't know if it could keep you in your apartment another month, but we will push this story, and I'll stay in touch with you. So this is why we do what we do. We don't just do this to cover, the political rat race between, Republicans and Democrats, or, to follow clicks. We do it to shine a light on some really ugly stories, and those stories are depressing sometimes, but they need to be told. So thank you, Anthony, for doing it, and I'll keep in touch with you. And definitely share that GoFundMe on your social media, and we will post the interview separately tomorrow. So, tough pivot. So we got 300 people watching right now, so share this live stream. Again, we're going to have our members call tonight. So definitely sign up if you can. Jimmy Dore donated 1,000. I don't think so. If he did, I didn't see it, but no, there was no $1,000. If Jimmy wants to, that would be great. I'd love to come on Jimmy's show too, separately, but that's a different story. So Jen, you were away a little bit, but in catching up, you know that, I don't know if you can see this, Jen, but the cliff is 3 days from now, the economic cliff. So we're facing mass evictions because the moratorium is up. We're facing the $600 extended unemployment being up, and a lot of people have no health care. And a lot of people are either in Anthony's situation. Well, not a lot of people, because that's a different situation. But a lot of people right now have no idea what the hell is going to happen. And the Republicans and Democrats, let me just show you Chuck Schumer's tweet so you have an idea. Have a nice weekend, Schumer told a reporter at 2:50 in the afternoon on Thursday. Meaning, the Democrats are going home and the Republicans are going home. The deadline will pass, as far as we could tell, for the unemployment benefits, and people will start getting evicted depending on what your state moratorium is. And, I don't want to do whataboutism here. Obviously, the Republicans control the White House, control the Senate, so they have the control right now as far as they could just extend the $600 unemployment if they wanted to. They could do a lot of things. So the Republicans are certainly at fault here. But this situation was even allowed to continue. And when I say the situation, I mean, I'll read this Washington Post story. Thank you for the super chat. Myra D, 1999. Keep those super chats coming if you can. We definitely need them for sure. Republicans right now looks like they want to cut from $600 extra a week down to, it seems, $150 to $200 extra a week, which is over half cutting the extended unemployment. Murmurs about another $1,200 check, but that's not guaranteed. For that, they demand a corporate liability for business people, meaning you could rush your workers back to work, not put any, legitimate safety measures in place. and you're free. You're not going to be in trouble. Blanket corporate liability. We're hearing they want capital gains capital gains cuts in there. But basically, yeah, the Republicans are at fault because obviously they're the ones in control. But the Democrats enabled this by agreeing to the original shit storm and shit sandwich in the first place. And the Democrats, I said 3 weeks ago, why isn't Nancy Pelosi in front of cameras right now? Why are we waiting till the last minute? Let me read the Washington Post story so you know exactly what's being negotiated or proposed. The White House and Senate Republicans on Thursday failed to reach an agreement on a broad coronavirus package to offer Democrats as part of negotiations, stumbling over numerous provisions as different factions in the GOP bicker over the path forward. Their continued impasse will push them right up against the deadline for expiring unemployment benefits at the end of next week. Sensing it's not the end of next week, it's July 26th, so that's Saturday. I don't know what they're talking about next week. Sensing the potential economic calamity of pulling back these benefits for up to 30 million people all at once, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin suggested Congress should consider a smaller bill to keep these benefits in place while other details are negotiated on Capitol Hill. But Democrats and Republicans roundly dismissed that idea immediately. Republicans had hoped to present a unified Republican plan on July 22nd, but factions within the GOP couldn't reach an agreement, and now they are hoping to have a unified offer to Democrats on Monday. And they were still fighting over numerous provisions late Thursday, including a demand by Senator Lindsey Graham that the legislation allow Americans to sue the Chinese government. Oh, Lindsey. As differences intensified, the White House agreed to scrap Trump's demand to include a payroll tax cut in the package after the provision was met with fierce resistance by Republicans. The delays on Capitol Hill came amid more grim developments about the coronavirus's fierce grip on the U.S. and its economy. There have now been 4 million confirmed cases, blah, 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 blah. The White House and Senate Republicans have floundered for days to map out how they wanted to proceed. They had said they wanted the package to be roughly $1 trillion compared to the $3 trillion package Democrats had called for. So basically, there's kind of negotiations going on right now, but Schumer's going home, meaning the Democrats are going home. I think this is going to expire. I think at the most you'll get $200 extra a week. So think about that for a second, Jen. Let's just use a single mother I interviewed from Arizona. Arizona only offers $250 a week for state unemployment. Some states offer even less than that. So if you're from Arizona and you're getting $250 a week, if you add another $200 a week, meaning the cut from $600 a week down to $250 or $200 a week, that's $450 a week. Times that by 4, that's 4, 8, 12. Wait, 4, 8, 12, 16. So it's like less than $2,000 a month if you're that woman in Arizona. Maybe you can pay rent. Maybe you'll cover rent, but you can't cover every bill. Food, utilities, your kids, groceries, car payment, all that stuff. This is a disaster. And the bigger disaster to me is it's all theater. The Democrats knew this was going to happen. They should have never agreed in the first place to let this expire. They should have had permanent stabilizers so that we weren't facing like a mini debt ceiling standoff where they do this every 4 months. You know, they always say businesses need certainty. Well, what about working people? So Pelosi, Schumer, they agreed to this, and then they cry after the fact, well, the Republicans have the Republicans have the Senate, and the Republicans have the White House. This is the best we can get. No, this was not the best you could get in the first place. Should have never even agreed to giving corporate America any money before addressing the immediate need, which was some form of UBI to me, some form of expanded Medicare. Go ahead.
I think it's worth really stressing that the reason a lot of these Republicans and probably some Democrats don't want to keep it at the $600 per week unemployment is because they say it's incentivizing people to stay home because they're getting more sitting on their butts at home than they are actually out there working. But top economists from across the country all agree that that's not the case. That people getting the $600 a month, which is barely livable in a lot of places, is not disincentivizing people to find work. That's just not happening. So the narrative that these Republicans have is completely untrue. And this disproportionately affects Black and brown people. Black and brown people are the ones who tend to have so normally with unemployment, they calculate what your typical wage is. And so then that would be, you would get less than that, but that's like how it would be calculated. So Black and brown people are typically on, or disproportionately, I should say, on the lower end of wages earned. So when they do that calculation, they end up with a lot less unemployment. So if you have like this state unemployment and then this like $200 swooping in on COVID, like it just doesn't work. And they don't care about the needs of everyday people.
Yeah, couldn't say better. And by the way, this idea of you're incentivizing people not to work, where are they going to work even if they wanted to?
Right.
Like,
it's ridiculous.
You're seeing record cases all over the country. Texas and Florida they don't even have any more hospital room. So where are people going to go to work? This idea that you're incentivizing people not to work, there is a pandemic with no vaccine. COVID cases are spiking all over the country. If businesses are open, it's at half capacity. You're not having enough customers in most places to even meet overhead for most businesses. So, I mean, I've talked to people, they're like, yeah, I'm looking for jobs, but there's no jobs. Or the ones that are listed have like 3,000 people applying. So it's just insane. It's just insane. And I missed a couple super chats. Brian Frederick, $1.99. Congress has no trouble funding the military. You betcha. By the way, yesterday, Kamala Harris voted against a 10% cut in the military. She is a top contender for Joe Biden vice president. Tammy Duckworth, who, served in the military, lost her legs, voted no. A couple other, I tweeted about it from Status Quo's account. Several Joe Biden's vice presidential potentials voted no. Warren, to her credit, voted yes. Cory Booker voted yes. Kirsten Gillibrand voted yes. A couple others that normally vote wrong voted to cut the 10%. Maybe they voted to cut it when they knew there was zero chance. Obviously, Bernie voted yes. Rand Paul, this brave Republican who was against every endless war, voted against cutting the military by 10%. So, finally...
Jordan, I do want to tell you that the RNC convention has been canceled. Trump just canceled it. So we can touch on that after.
Okay. Breaking news from Jen Dyes. The RNC has been canceled in Jacksonville. So, yeah, Rand Paul obviously is a fraud. He voted against cutting the military by 10%. But I completely lost my train of thought. Bottom line, this is all theater. The Democrats could have, and again, the Republicans are in control, so let's not sugarcoat it. They are to blame. But the Democrats should have been in front of cameras and demanding we act weeks ago, not waiting till the last minute and going on, MSN. Now you see these Democrats on MSNBC and CNN, which is essentially their green room because CNN and MSNBC work for the Democratic Party. And they're just, the Republicans have to do something and we need to extend the $600 a month. You want to know something? Even extending the $600 a month is not good enough. We can't keep, a lot of people, I wish there was data on this, haven't gotten the $600 a month that are eligible for it. A sane country would just do the common sense thing and give people during a pandemic immediate universal basic income, replenishable every month, where people don't have to do anything. They just get it. Mm-hmm. The $1,200 check, okay, is it better than not getting a $1,200 check? Yeah, but it's the same thing as the $1,200 check that came 4 months ago. It's going to be in the door and out the door within 10 seconds. it's not going to help people stay afloat. It's just going to help people pay off the debt that they've been incurring, some of the debt, because people are incurring debt right now. Myra D, 1999, thank you. So it's just, the whole thing is laughable. And again, my problem with it is the Democrats are just going to get away with it as they always do, pretending that, well, if they were in control, there'd be a lot more. But they're not in control, so let's point to Trump and the Republicans. Yeah, we know Trump and the Republicans can't be depended on. But you didn't have to agree to the original bill. You could have fought the original bill. But no. Again, Nancy, as I always say, Speaker Pelosi drove the getaway car so that McConnell and all of them could rob the Treasury. So it's a bipartisan bank robbery. And by the way, Dave Dayen said this when I interviewed him from the American Prospect. How is this even going to work? So you're going to go from $600 a week, which could barely be administered properly by state unemployment offices that are overrun. Then you're going to cut it down to what they're reporting, $200 extra a week. So how are the state offices going to distribute that? There's going to be a gap and then a differential. So these state unemployment offices are already antiquated with old tech in the first place. So how the hell are people going to get their money efficiently when they need it and without, computation and calculation problems? It's just a disaster. And it just shows you this is the danger when you have mostly white millionaires running the government, because they feel no urgency. Mitch McConnell feels no urgency, and Pelosi, it doesn't seem, feels any urgency.
Well, we're obviously journalists. We are not activists. We're not out there protesting, but it has to come down, in my opinion, it has to come down to people getting upset and demanding better. Because I personally, I think a lot of the reason that $1,200 came to us is just so they didn't have people beating down their door. It kind of like, okay, they threw us a bone, very little bone in the end. But now we have evictions coming up. We have unemployment running out. And I need to look this up, but there was also an added allowance for people who are typically freelancers and were not full-time employed. They were actually allowed to get unemployment under this. So we have all of those freelancers, all of those gig workers. Think about how many people who are gig workers, who work in this gig economy. It's a lot of people. So finally, because of COVID, they were allowed to collect the $600 unemployment. Well, is that going to go away? New bill, whatever it ends up being, they're trying to chop it up and they're doing this and that, and we don't know what's going to happen. We have no idea. But the people have to demand change. People have to get out in the streets. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to see any change. The politicians do not care, as we saw from Anthony's story and so many stories across the country.
Thank you for the super chat. N Stark 007. I believe Jordan can still do good work. Jank. Even someone that doesn't like you can't deny your integrity. That's why I ride with status quo. And Starks, I'm already in a depressed mood. Okay, why you got to mention Jank to me? But thanks for the super chat. If only you knew half of what I know about Jank. But I digress. Maybe we'll talk about it on the members call tonight. Hint, hint. Sign up as a member for $5 a month. Okay. Before you do that, I just want to tease, because I totally forgot about this. Folks, status quo is very, very grassroots, so sometimes shit happens at the last minute, like finding a freelance journalist in Portland at 11 p.m. at night to go live. So last night, we had a freelance journalist, Mike Dusick, I think is his name. He went live for us from Portland, Oregon, where obviously federal troops have been battering and beating up mothers and journalists and veterans. So he went live for us last night. Couple hiccups with, the way he shot the camera.
Yeah, we'll get him on target with that.
So we're gonna hopefully we had him go get new equipment today. So he will be live for us tonight. Hopefully, for you West Coast people, you could be up. East Coast, if you want to stay up a little bit later, he will be going live for us around 11 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Pacific, right here on the channel from Portland. So definitely, if you're up, if you're a night owl on the East Coast or on the West Coast, should be around 8 o'clock Eastern. We will be covering it live from Portland. That's Mike. So definitely tune in. And keep those super chats coming because we got to pay freelancers wherever we find them. And he did a good job last night. So sorry, Jen. I just wanted to promote that we'll be live from Portland tonight before I forget.
Well, I wanted to promote this incredible members call that we are about to have in an hour and 15 minutes. So for those of you who are new to us, we every month, sometimes multiple times a month, we have a members call with Jordan and myself. And it's on Zoom, so people can be on video or not on video. They can call it. You can call it on your phone, whatever's most comfortable for you. And so we sit down as if we're in a room together, and we chat. We talk about. At the top, we give you kind of an update on what's going on with us and with the business and with things that are whatever's on our mind. We often say a little bit too much. Jordan always says that if I were with him, I would elbow him no, shh. But sometimes I spill the beans too. So that's always fun. And then we open it up for questions where, again, you can be on video, ask your question, or just ask it in the chat. So whatever's on your mind, whatever questions you have for us, if you want our opinions on something, we talk progressive politics, we talk about the news, we talk about whatever you bring up, we talk about. So all your burning questions. And it's truly fun. There's a chat box where you guys can chat with each other while we're chatting with voice, and it's super fun. Members, if you are a member, you already got a link in your email and instructions in your email for joining the call at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. But if you are not a member yet, you can join for just $5 a month. Go to statusquo.com/join. I'll send you your links and everything right away. And it's so fun. It's just $5. You could either get a Starbucks Frappuccino or scoop around in your couch and see if you find any change. But it really helps us keep reporting, and you get great benefits such as this members call that we're going to just have so much fun on. Plus, Jordan just posted a new members video, and I'll be posting some too. We shoot behind the scenes footage when we're out in the field, when we're at home. So there's just a lot of extra content. We have a lot of good plans coming up for members too to make it even more worth your while. So statusquo.com/join. So if you're a member and I saw someone say they didn't get it. If you are a member and did not get your invite to the call, just email info@statusquo.com and I'll send it right out to you. So that's my spiel. I hope a lot of you join so we can chat with you. It's a chance for us to kind of get to know each other better and in a different way than we get to on the live stream.
Yeah. And I'll say it a little less eloquently than Jen. I'm just going to keep it real. We will not be a thing in the long term if we don't grow our membership. I mean, it's just that simple. We were on the verge of 2,000 members. I think we were at 1,900 something. We had grown over 600 members during the campaign, thanks to just being out there and doing the reporting the way we did it, that very few others did. As far as I know, Jen, I don't think any other independent outlet covered in person Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, Nevada, California, Michigan. I mean, we were everywhere. You covered a few. I covered a few. I was in South Bend exposing that little rat fuck Pete Buttigieg. But COVID is what COVID is, and around 200 people have canceled, and most of to many of your amazing kindness messaged us, just making sure we knew it's not because you fell out of love with us or don't support us. It's because you're losing your work, losing your job, or whatever the case may be. But, Jen and I have been talking about, we just got to figure out a way somehow to keep growing it, because obviously, I need to earn a living. Jen does. Got to pay Colin. We're looking for a new camera person right now that we might have found somebody to have a travel budget, so that Jen does have a budget to put it advertising and marketing. I mean, we are up against unprecedented digital suppression. If only you knew the half of it, where we have to pour so much money into just having our content seen to get around the suppression. So if you're not a member, if you've kind of thought about it, but like never pulled the trigger, just know it does make a difference. Even at the $5 level, it does make a difference. And I will say, we have not, we didn't promote our GoFundMe for a while because we don't want to promote so many things at once. We want people to focus on one thing. But if you are a member, you're always welcome. We're less than $8,000 to go now. So we're at 112,266. I don't want to ask too much because obviously a lot of people have donated today to Anthony, which is more important. But if you have a couple bucks, you could always drop it in our GoFundMe. Jen will drop the link in. But yeah, so we'll be doing the members call in about an hour. So the last thing I'll say about the negotiations before we go, because we both probably have to eat dinner before the call, is this is what happens when one party is a bunch of extremists, a mix of Christian fundamentalists, Tea Partiers, racists, and whack jobs. That would be the Republican Party. And another party is essentially the Republican Party of the 1990s with a D next to them, right? This is what happens when you don't have a real progressive party. It's interesting. I'm reading John Nichols' new book about Henry Wallace. I don't know if you know your history, but Henry Wallace was one of FDR's vice presidents, because he had a couple. And Henry Wallace was kind of the Bernie Sanders of the early 20th century. And Henry Wallace was in the 1940s calling for an end to racism, calling for an end to the already beginning Cold War, calling for an era of the common man and working people and money, really 60 million jobs and no unemployment. I mean, Henry Wallace was a progressives, the most progressive of progressives back then, maybe even more progressive than FDR. And in reading the book, at the 1944 DNC convention, he actually got more votes than Harry Truman to be FDR's vice president. He already was FDR's vice president, but FDR kind of left him out to dangle a little bit. And FDR was a little spineless, so didn't publicly endorse him to remain on the ticket. But what happened was, essentially, even though Henry Wallace had more delegates than anybody else to be renominated as the vice president, the party bosses just rigged it and announced their delegates for Truman without even asking their delegates. So literally, if you read this book, this isn't like a free promo for John Nichols, you will see that the corruption dates all the way back to even the early...
John Nichols should send us some money. You're giving him a real spiel here.
No, but I'm saying the book is really informative because it will show you that the Democratic Party moving to the right basically began earlier than was first thought. It began basically by squashing and sabotaging Henry Wallace's renomination. Because remember, right after Henry Wallace got kicked off the ticket and FDR got renominated, FDR died, I think, 6 months later. Henry Wallace would have been the president, not Harry Truman. And that would have dramatically changed, even dating to today. So I guess what I'm saying is Republican extremism, the corporatization of America, the Wall Street running amok, and this country becoming the United Corporations of America could have only happened if you had an opposition party basically propping up the extremist party. And the opposition party, in this case the Democrats, they agreed to this original bill when they had all the leverage in the world. So the situation we're in now, yeah, the Republicans are certainly more at fault because they are in the White House, they control the Senate, and they could certainly fix this and give real relief now. But the Democrats they're not without fault either. So anyway, we'll wrap with that. Jen, any parting words?
We have a couple super chats.
Okay.
I'm typing a thank you to them. Do you want to read them?
Oh, okay. By the way, if only you knew how hot it is in my apartment, that's why there's a rag around my neck. It is schwitzing. There's no central air, so that's why I have a rag, if you were wondering. Let me read. Ned Stark's 007. By the way, Ned Stark is alive. Just letting you know, that's my theory. TF is with right-wingers like
You
Sagar.
can't have a theory anymore because it's over.
It's not over till I say it's over. TF is... TF? Who's TF? Is it...
The fuck.
Oh, the fuck is it with right-wingers like Sagar who can't see the negative effects of capitalism? Where does pure capitalism devoid of authoritarianism exist? Yep, Sagar, he's definitely right-wing. He's got some ideas. I like Crystal. Brian Fedrick, $4.99. Democrats complain about Trump as an existential threat, but then give him record-setting military budgets, expanded surveillance, and a space force. Brian, good point. Speaking of, you got the Department of Homeland Security is in Portland right now, bashing the hell out of moms, veterans, journalists, protesters, and the Democrats just voted to give them another $50 billion. America. Thank you, Brian, for the super chat. Okay, I think I read all of them. So, yep. No, I didn't. Tiffany J. Kim, 1999. Thank you for bringing us the stories from the brave Portland moms and dads who are standing up to, quote, law enforcement officials who have completely demolished our constitutional rights. I stand with status quo. I stand with you, Tiffany. Thank you.
I think I don't think the media is highlighting this enough. There's a wall of moms, literal moms in Portland right now at the protests nightly because George Floyd called out for his mother as he was dying. So this wall of moms has formed based on that, and I think it's just such an incredible part of the protest that isn't being highlighted enough.
I agree. All right, so we will be back for our members in an hour, so I hope we could get a couple more signups before we start. And one last plug, I'm just so proud of the coup community. We've raised $2,225 for Anthony in the last hour and a half. So, his goal is 10,000. I don't know if we could do that, but at least we got him started. We'll post the interview separately tomorrow. And, our thoughts are with you, Anthony. I hope this helps a little bit. We can't help everybody, but we certainly are trying to get stories out there as best as we can. And if you got a couple other bucks under your pillow after supporting Anthony, don't forget about little old cool. There's our GoFundMe. Jen and I, yes. That members call 1 hour from now. We will see you in an hour. I'm going to go shower because I'm drenched, and we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in an hour. Bye-bye. Bye.